everyone, it's Missy and welcome back to my doll's Easter frock. And I am just finishing up the dress, and if you haven't finished the skirt of the dress, I made a previous video. I'll have it linked in the description below so that way you can get this part done. This part is the little flower granny squares. You make individual squares, 36 of them, and you sew them together in a rectangle that is 3 squares by 12 squares. And once you have this done, you'll be ready to go on to the bodice. Now the written instructions are also linked in the description below if you want to join along with that. Otherwise, what you're going to need is the skirt piece. You're going to need a size F crochet hook, or the size needed to attain the gauge. You'll need a pair of scissors, a tapestry needle, and we are using number 4 medium weight yarn, also called worsted weight yarn. I am going to be using white. I'm also going to be using a light blue, but if you see in the written instructions of the pattern, they use yellow for the bodice, and they also use multiple colors for the skirt. So your choice, it's all up to you. You can choose whatever color you want. But I'm going to start off with the white. And I am going to make a slip knot. To make a slip knot, you just make a loop. Bring the yarn underneath like so. Take your hook and pull that yarn tight. Alright, we are ready to get started. You're going to take your rectangle. You're going to have the long edge facing up. You want to have the right side facing, so you want to have those flowers facing you. You're going to insert your hook into this chain 2 space that made the corner of this granny square. And you're going to attach the yarn with a slip stitch. To do a slip stitch, you're just going to yarn over and pull through all the loops on your hook. And now that our yarn is attached, we are ready to begin row 1. On row 1, you want to single crochet. Well, I'm going to chain 1 first, and then I'll single crochet. So with my working yarn, I gotta move my camera over. There we go. Now I have more table space. So I'm just going to chain 1 like that, yarn over, you pull that through the loop, and that's a chain, and then I'm going to single crochet. To single crochet, I'm just going to insert into that chain 2 space, yarn over, pull the loop through, yarn over again, and that's a single crochet. And I see my yarn tail got caught in there. There we go. Once we have single crocheted in the chain 2 space, we can skip that next half double crochet stitch, and we're going to single crochet in the next stitch. So skip this stitch right here, go right into this stitch, single crochet, and then we're going to do that again. Skip the next half double crochet stitch here and go into the next one here, single crochet. Alright, and then single crochet in the chain 2 space, which is right on the corner right here. Alright, then we're going to repeat that 10 times. So we're going to single crochet in our next chain 2 space, skip the half double crochet stitch, go right into the next one, single crochet, skip the next half double crochet stitch, go into the next single crochet, and single crochet in the chain 2 space. Alright, so I'm just going to keep repeating that across for the next 10 blocks, and then I'll come back and show you how to finish row 1. So when you've come to end of the row 1, you should have ended with a single crochet in the chain 2 space at the end of the last block. So in total you should have 48 single crochet stitches. When you have your single crochet stitches finished, you can turn your work, and we're ready to do row 2. You're going to chain 1, and then we're going to just single crochet in each stitch across. So again, you'll have a total of 48 single crochet stitches for row 2. And then row 3, you're repeating the same pattern. You're going to chain 1 and single crochet in each stitch across. So I think what I'll do is I'll do rows 2 and 3 and come back and show you how to do row 4. For row 4, it's the same as rows 2 and 3 where you chain 1 and single crochet in each stitch across, so you'll have a total of 48 single crochets. However, at the end of the row, I will be changing to the blue yarn. And to change color, I'm just finishing up my 48th stitch for row 4. I'm just going to insert my hook to do a single crochet. I'm going to yarn over and pull that loop through so I have 2 loops on my hook. But instead of finishing the stitch with the white yarn, I'm going to go over and grab the blue yarn, and I'm just going to lay it over the top and then just pull that loop through the last 2 stitches. And then that allows me to change my color while still having a single crochet stitch that is white. So what I can do now is cut the white yarn, and then I'll set that off to the side. We'll go back to that later. But now I am ready to move on to row 5. So I'm just going to turn my work, and I'm going to chain 3. And this is going to count as a double crochet stitch. So I'm just going to 1, 2, 3. And just be careful that you just set these yarn tails off to the side. And then we are ready to double crochet in each stitch across, and that is going to be our 48 stitches. So this counts as a double crochet, so we're going to move on to our next stitch. To double crochet, you're going to yarn over, so there's 2 loops on your hook. Just going to insert my hook into that next stitch, yarn over, pull that loop through, so there's 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2 loops, so there's 2 loops left on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull through those 2 loops, and that's a double crochet stitch. So like I said, I'm going to double crochet in each stitch across, so that way I have a total of 48 stitches, and then I'll come back and show you how to do row 6. When you finish row 6, row 5, I'm sorry, you could turn your work and we'll be moving on to row 6. Now for row 6, we're going to start off by making a button loop. How we do that is we chain 6 stitches. And then we slip stitch in the first double crochet. So I'm just going right back down to that stitch, yarn over, and make a slip stitch, and there is my button loop. Now to continue on with the pattern, I'm going to chain 3, and this is our double crochet, and then I'm going to double crochet in each stitch across. So for the end of row 6, I will have 48 double crochet stitches in this one button loop. For rows 7 through 9, it's the same pattern. We're just going to turn our work and chain 3, and we're going to double crochet in each stitch across. So we're going to have a total of 48 double crochet stitches for rows 7 through 9. And after we finish row 9, we will be ready to start the right back. So that will be row 10. So I'll come back when we do row 10. The wrong side of your project should be facing you, and we are ready to make another buttonhole loop. So to do that, we will just chain 6. And then we will slip stitch in the top of the first double crochet. Alright, so now we should have 2 buttonhole loops done. And now we can move on to where we're going to chain 3. Again, this counts as a double crochet, so we're going to double crochet in the next 8 stitches. And that is the end of our row. So we should have a total of 9 double crochet stitches, counting the chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. We're just going to leave the rest of the stitches in the row unworked. And all we have to do now is turn. And now for rows 11 through 13, we are going to double crochet in each stitch across. So we'll have a total of 9 double crochet stitches. And then in row 14, I will come back and show you how to do that. Alright, to start off row 14, you guessed it, we are going to do another buttonhole. So again, we want to chain 6. And slip stitch in the top of that double crochet stitch. Alright, that is our last buttonhole loop that we're going to make in this pattern. And what I want to do now is chain 3. And we're going to double crochet in the next 8 stitches. So our last stitch is going to end on the top of this chain 3. And that finishes our row 14. All I need to do is fasten off. I'm going to leave a long tail for sewing though, because we'll be sewing the shoulders together. So to fasten off, I just cut myself a long tail. All I'm going to do is yarn over and pull that yarn through the loop, tighten it off, and we have finished the right back. We are now ready to move on to the front of our project. To do that, I'm just going to create a slip knot. And then to attach my yarn, I'm just going to make sure that the wrong side of our work is facing us. And we are going to count 6 stitches. So from where I ended on row 10 of the right back, I'm just going to count. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to insert my hook into that 7th stitch right there. And then all I'm going to do is create a slip stitch to join my yarn. And now I'm ready to start the row 10 for the front. So the first thing we're going to do is chain 3. Again, this counts as a double crochet stitch. And then we're going to double crochet in the next 4 stitches. Now we're going to do a little bit of a design in the front. To do this, we are going to half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches. And then we'll half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. we'll finish off the row by double crocheting in the last 4 stitches of the front. So you'll have kind of like a curve in the design. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to do a 5th double crochet. I was counting my stitches and they just weren't right. There we go. So end with 5 double crochet stitches in the front row, and then you will have a total of 18 stitches. Always important to check that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. There we go. Perfect. Alright, and then that finishes row 10, so all we have to do is turn our work and we are ready to start row 11. Now for row 11 through 14, it's the same pattern, so I'll show you how to do row 11 and then you can repeat it for 12, 13, and 14. First thing that you do is chain 3, and then double crochet in the next 4 stitches. Once you finish that, you can half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then single crochet in the next 4 stitches. Half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And finish off the row by double crocheting in the last 5 stitches. And then remember that chain 3 counts as a stitch. Alright, and there we have row number 11 is complete. So now you can do this for rows 12 through 14, and then we will be ready to fasten off and move on to the left back. Once you've fastened off, this is what your front should look like. So it dips down, but it will also kind of curl up a little bit, so it almost looks like a bow, which is kind of cool. Now we're ready to move on to the left back, and all I need to do is take my yarn, make a slip knot, and then from the front we are going to leave 6 unworked stitches. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to insert my hook into the 7th stitch right here, and we're going to slip stitch to join the yarn. Now I'm going to chain 3. Again, this counts as a double crochet stitch. We will then double crochet in the next 8 stitches. And I'm just crocheting over my yarn tail so I don't have to weave in so many ends when we finish the project. Okay, so for row 10 of the left back, we should have a total of 9 stitches, which we do. So now rows 11 through 14, we are just going to chain 3 and double crochet in each stitch across. So there'll be a total of 9 double crochet stitches, and then at the end of row 14, you're going to fasten off, but again leaving that long tail for sewing. And then you'll be finished with the bodice. All we really have to do then is do the assembly. So I'm going to quick show you how to do that. You're going to take the wrong sides held together, so the right side will be facing out, and you'll take and whip stitch with this long tail that we left the 5 double crochet stitches of the front with the first 5 double crochet stitches of the back, and then you're just going to whip stitch it together on this side, and then when you finished the left back you'll whip stitch it together on that side, and then we have our basic dress, and then all we have left to do is crochet the ruffles. So this is what your dress should look like so far. We have the skirt done, we have the sash done, we have the bodice, I have the shoulders sewn together, and now I'm going to create a white ruffle over the top of each sleeve. So to do that, I'm going to go back to my white yarn, and I'm going to make another slip knot using the same crochet hook. And with the right side of my project facing me, I'm going to go up to the left side of the dress, and I'm going to insert my yarn into the front, but the side of this lower double crochet stitch on row 10. So I'm going to draw my yarn with a slip stitch. Now I'm ready to begin the first row of the left shoulder ruffle. And what I'm going to do first is chain 1, and then I'm going to single crochet twice in the side of this row 10. And I'm going to single crochet twice in the next side of row 11. The same with row 12. Row 13. And of course row 14. So the sides of the front should look like that. And then I'm also going to do the same thing. I'm going to single crochet twice in rows 14 through 10 of the left back. So I'm just going to kind of open this up so I can get to it. So this is the side of row 14. So I'll single crochet twice there. Then row 13, row 12, row 11, and finally row 10. So for row 1 we should have a total of 20 single crochet stitches. And then once we have finished that, we can turn our work and go to row 2. For row 2 I'm just going to chain 1, and then I'm going to single crochet twice in the first 2 stitches. So in this first single crochet twice here, and single crochet twice here. And then I'm going to create 2 half double crochets in the next 2 stitches. So half double crochet, we yarn over, insert our hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull that stitch through, so there's 3 loops on the hook, and yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. But I'm going to do that twice in that same stitch, and twice in the next stitch. In the next 2 stitches, I'm going to double crochet twice. So the double crochet is a little bit different. You start off like the half double crochet, but then you yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through another 2 loops. Double crochet twice in the next stitch. So now we have a total of 4 double crochet stitches. I'm actually going to do that, let's see here, 10 more times. I'm going to double crochet twice. So double crochet twice in the next 10 stitches. In the next 2 single crochets, we're going to half double crochet twice. And in the last 2 stitches, we're going to single crochet twice. And that finishes row 2. So we should have a total of 40 stitches in this row. For row 3, I'm just going to turn. I'm going to chain 1, and then we're going to start off by single crocheting twice in the first 4 stitches. In the next 4 stitches, we'll half double crochet in each stitch twice. And then in the next 24 stitches, we are going to double crochet twice in each stitch. In the next 4 stitches, I am going to half double crochet twice. And in the last 4 stitches, I am going to single crochet 2 times. And that ends ends row 3. So all I need to do is fasten off, and we should have a total of 80 stitches in that row. And then you just weave in your yarn end, and you should have a really nice ruffle. And we're actually going to repeat this pattern on the right hand side, except we are going to start with the back and go up and around, and it's the exact same pattern as the left hand side. So you can just rewind the video and watch that, complete this, and then what I'm going to do is sew the skirt together where the white is. I'm going to leave the blue unsewn because we have the buttons. So I'm going to sew 3 buttons up the blue side, and then we'll be ready to do the ruffle on the bottom as well as the bow in the back. Okay, so I finished the ruffle on the other sleeve. I have my buttons sewn on. These are 1/2 inch wide buttons, which I think go along with the dress very well. And then I also sewed the skirt together. I just sewed it to where the blocks are, and then I left this open because this is where we're going to put the bow straps. And then all I need to do now is the skirt ruffle, so I'm going to have the right side facing. I'm actually going to turn this so it's upside down. And where I sewed the blocks together, I am going to join my yarn. So I'm going to take the white yarn, I'm going to make a slip knot. I'm using the same size crochet hook, and then I'm just joining the yarn in the bottom, right in this chain 2 space. With a slip stitch. There we go, and we are ready to start round 1.